Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about why caste is a workers' and a civil rights issue and why we need caste protections everywhere. While we've tried really hard to make this presentation as accessible as possible to all audiences, it is not a comprehensive history for an extremely complex subject. We will also be moving fast, so if you'd like to go through references in more detail, we will be able to share the presentation later. We also want to highlight the fact that we come from dominant caste backgrounds and are speaking today as allies because of the broad culture of fear and silencing that exists when talking about caste. However, none of this would be possible without centuries of resistance by caste oppressed people, and we are also choosing to speak anonymously for safety reasons. So we're going to start by first understanding briefly what caste is, talk about caste in India specifically, then move over to the United States, and then come to tech at the end. As a starting point, it is important to know that caste is the millennia-old structure of social division. Someone's caste is based on their birth alone and impacts every aspect of life, similar to how race would in the United States. Some of you might have seen this kind of pyramid structure showing a caste-based hierarchy, with privileged castes like Brahmins at the top, and each caste considering themselves superior to those below. People who find themselves lower in the hierarchy are underrepresented in institutions, have lesser access to resources, and are dehumanized. People like Adivasis, who are the indigenous people of India, and Dalits are considered even outside this pyramid structure and are the most oppressed. It is important, though, that we realize that regional nuances matter when talking about caste because it is, after all, a structure of power and privilege too, and it is present in all communities. As Isabel Wilkerson mentions in her book on caste, there are several ways in which birth-based caste is upheld, including control over women's choices. In fact, even the traditional work done by oppressed caste people, such as cobblers or butchers, for example, is seen as impure. Many people consider themselves inherently superior by birth, while caste oppressed people are constantly dehumanized and face violence. We cannot talk about caste without talking about Dr. Ambedkar, who is modern India's most influential leader, anti-caste organizer, labor organizer, economist, and author of the Indian Constitution, and the reason why we have made so much progress on workers' rights, women's rights, and the rights and dignity of caste oppressed people. Having come from a Dalit background himself, he fought against all odds to gain education while fighting for equality against both the British colonial system as well as the socially entrenched caste system. Now, while there are several indicators of caste that a person might carry with them, there is no perfect indicator, and we should avoid making assumptions because many caste oppressed people prefer to hide their identity for fear of harm. Caste is a social system that is bigger than any one individual. So hopefully with some basic understanding of caste, we can start learning a little about how caste works in India. India's constitution makes explicit provisions against caste-based violence and also provides affirmative action to ensure representation for caste-oppressed people in higher education and government jobs. There are many categories that the government has created for this purpose, and they're loosely associated with social identities. Especially, scheduled castes refer to Dalits, and scheduled tribes are the indigenous peoples of India, both of whom face serious violence, dispossession, and underrepresentation in all institutions at all levels. But just because there are laws doesn't mean that caste has vanished at all. In fact, it still forces many people into dangerous and dehumanizing work, often with no way of getting out. It leads to segregation in housing. Marriage and socializing is also largely determined by caste and often enforced through violence in many cases. Caste is part of education, right from primary schools and all the way up to the so-called elite institutions like the IITs, where a lot of Googlers have studied as well. People from marginalized caste backgrounds are often forced to drop out or die by suicide at many of these institutions in higher education. And not even professors can escape caste-based discrimination. So now we're going to take a moment here and confirm our understanding so far. So Jenny might be able to share a poll that will pop up on your screen. So if you want to just take a moment and answer questions, let's see. Cool, I think we can move on. Most of us think that the numbers are pretty high, and that means we've been paying attention to the previous slide. A majority of the population of India, as you can see, over 75% belongs to a caste oppressed background that is completely underrepresented in institutions. And just to give you some more context, whether it's the media, education, judiciary, or private businesses, caste-based hegemony is alive and thriving. I know this was all too much info, but hopefully, if there's one thing you can take out of it, it is that caste is alive, it is a widespread issue, and it is really harmful. So before we move to the United States, just want to make this point that caste has also been reported everywhere that the South Asian diaspora exists in significant numbers. For the rest of this presentation, we will focus on the United States to help us understand the movement for caste equity globally. South Asians in the United States are a very diverse population, and caste violence puts many people at further risk in addition to being immigrants. After the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act, which was really a legacy of the civil rights movement, that is when a lot of South Asians were able to migrate to the United States. But Dalits and caste oppressed people historically prevented from accessing education were largely excluded from that. While that has slowly been changing thanks to affirmative action in India, it is slow with constant attempts from dominant caste groups to undermine progress. And as you can see, there also are a lot of explicit as well as implicit dominant caste associations, even in the United States. So over the years, we've seen sexual violence against caste oppressed women, protests against affirmative action in the United States, even though over 90% of South Asians here are from dominant castes and are not representative of the population in South Asia. More recently, there have also been attempts to erase mentions of caste from California high school textbooks so that American children wouldn't learn about it. As minorities within a minority, caste-oppressed people face double exclusion. Equality Labs' survey and the caste discrimination lawsuit against Cisco highlight this fact. And here's just some data that shows how caste is present in various American institutions' social life, but invisibilized because there is a lack of understanding. What's been encouraging and positive, though, is that more recently we've started to see some American institutions recognize this and take action, even as caste-oppressed people continue to face violence. And what I want to really highlight here is that Asians are not a monolith. Everybody has different experiences, and caste is an issue wherever South Asians are, including in unsafe work environments like restaurants. And that is why we need protections in all workplaces. And so now that we have a brief understanding of caste in the United States, I would like to invite the next speaker to talk about caste as a workers' issue and how it manifests in tech.
So we want to make it clear that caste is a workers' issue and it is a civil rights issue. And to give you an idea of how caste-based discrimination looks like in the workplace, including tech workplaces, we have highlighted some testimonies from caste-oppressed people in the US. And aggressions typically look like social exclusion in a variety of ways. A very common aggression at the workplace is dominant caste co-workers openly expressing negative sentiments and resentment towards affirmative action in India. This can surface just in casual conversations. Casteism also intersects with sexism in a very profound way. Dalit women engineers from Silicon Valley have shared how caste biases and sexual harassments they have faced from dominant caste co-workers, especially from dominant caste men. Another way casteism is experienced is by the imposition of dominant caste culture in social spaces, such as vegetarianism or adhering to particular dance or music forms. So these are just some examples. Dalit workers also get gaslighted in workplaces very frequently. Another issue is that of TVC exclusion. We know that TVCs face exclusion at companies including Alphabet, and the issues of caste oppressed TVCs end up being doubly invisible. Additionally, there are cases where janitorial staff or kitchen staff are being mistreated and demeaned when they come from caste oppressed backgrounds, especially in India offices. Lastly, a lack of representation in workplaces makes it very difficult for caste oppressed people to thrive and feel included. And lack of data on this representation in places like diversity reports makes it further difficult to make a case for caste equity. Specifically at Alphabet, there are several challenges to anti-caste organizing. The number one challenge is lack of cultural competency from HR and management, although they have been approached about this since 2020. ERGs are not safe spaces because of the presence of opponents of caste equity. And the few allies who try to speak are silenced by myths about caste equity or by weaponizing HR. These challenges make it risky to organize and speak up. Since most caste oppressed workers and allies are on H-1B visas, their immigration status is tied to their jobs. They may also feel that their families in the US and in India are at risk, or they might face retaliation from management. And there is a very real risk of doxing and online harassment from organized bad actors in the company as well as outside it. And to top it all, caste is not a protected category at Alphabet globally. So, adding caste as a protected category is just the first step towards caste equity. It will help us build safety for our workers. And I say it's a first step because there are still enforcement challenges. For example, in India, caste is a protected category in many tech companies, including at Alphabet. However, this policy is hardly enforced given the dominance of privileged caste employees and leadership. In the long run, we have to make companies accountable to bringing caste equity. This emphasizes that companies don't tolerate caste discrimination and also opens up the mandate for them to make DEI investments similar to other protected classes. So how do we do this at Alphabet? We have to make Alphabet a safe space for oppressed caste people. We do this by collecting representation data, creating programs to promote hiring, and offering workplace support like mental health. Caste should also be considered on all product roadmaps, and Alphabet should avoid working with contracting companies that ignore caste discrimination. And most importantly, Alphabet should form relationships with anti-caste organizations led by Dalit organizers that can help inform how caste operates in different contexts and further inform Alphabet policy. And there has been a growing movement of caste equity in the US. A lot of academic institutions have added caste as a protected category since 2019. And the most recent one was the California State University system, which has 23 campuses across California. Very recently, our own Alphabet Workers Union has also called on Alphabet leadership to add caste as a protected category. The beautiful part of this movement of caste equity is its connectedness to the movement of racial equity in the US. South Asians and African Americans have been standing up for each other for over a century. These are histories we were never taught about. For example, in the 1940s, Dr. Ambedkar corresponded with the prominent African American activist Du Bois, and they exchanged letters discussing the similarity between Black and Dalit struggles. Another great example is that of the Dalit Panthers Party that was established in 1972. This was a resistance group against caste discrimination that was deeply inspired by the Black Panther movement of America, especially by their militant literature, community service, and political struggle. And now, on a parting note, we want you to hear from Anticast artist Arivu. A Dalit himself, Arivu is a rapper, lyricist, and playback singer based in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Yeah, if you want to learn more, these are some of the resources that we will also be dropping in the chat. And we would just like to reiterate that the presenters are from dominant caste background, and this presentation is informed by centuries of struggle of Dalit and caste oppressed people.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Kelly, and we're introducing the call to action section. But first, I wanted to ask if we could get some love for the presenters of the education section, because that was so amazing. So everybody show some love either in the chat or in emojis. So there's still a lot that we can do, and we need your help. A lot of the things that have happened at Google recently have been terrible, but a silver lining is that has raised a lot more awareness about the issue of caste in our workplace. And because of that, there are so many more people in the fight than there were even just a few weeks ago. And this has all been possible with the structure of AWU. It gives us a place and a lot of concrete resources to organize ourselves together around taking action in numbers.
Hey everyone, I'm Rob. My pronouns are he, him. So yeah, why do we take action? First things first, power concedes nothing without a demand. We have to fight to win the changes that we want in our workplace. We've also seen how trying to do things the right way and going the official route really doesn't get anything done. I've been in many meetings over the last couple of weeks where I've seen how tied leadership's hands are, including meetings with VPs and SVPs, trying to address our concerns but giving us absolutely no answers. And then last but not least, things are set up to try and make us feel powerless as individuals, but together we actually have a ton of power in numbers. Within AWU, we've been able to turn this into a successful campaign that can and will keep up this fight as long as it takes. So yeah, we're not going to stop until we win.
And so here's some examples of things we've done so far in this fight. The main one is that we've created the petition to get caste added as a protected category here at Google. This is the first step in having the workplace be a safer place for caste oppressed workers. Additionally, HR will have to be a lot more educated about caste because, as we've seen previously, they really don't know anything. And with this, there will also be the obligation that the company has to respond to that kind of discrimination claim. Because as we've seen right now, they say, we won't tolerate discrimination of any kind, but until this is officially written down in the code of conduct, this will continue to happen. And we have over 1,300 signatures now, so that's awesome. Additionally, several members of AWU have contributed to the Go/Caste Equity website, which is a central place where we can all learn more about caste and this issue of casteism in the workplace. We have also created flyers with links to the petition that we've distributed around several offices. As you can see in the pictures on the right, that is a couple of us, that's me on the right side of that first one, distributing them in New York City. And we've also distributed them in Cambridge and Mountain View, which has added a lot of people learning about this issue and signing the petition. And we have emailed the petition to Sundar directly, along with some other high leads, with a direct ask that they respond to it by noon today. That did not happen. And so we will continue to escalate in every way that we can because we are not giving up. And lastly, we brought together this Union Day to educate all of you about this and for us to all take more action.
Awesome. So I'm going to go over a couple of things that we're going to do tonight to continue driving this campaign forward. And the very first thing is that we've created a profile ring that everyone can download and add to their profile pictures on Corp to drive more awareness to this. So if you go to go/AW-badge on Corp or avatars.alphabetworkersunion.org, you can apply this badge to a profile image, and I'm going to share my screen right now and actually show y'all how that works. So if you navigate to the site, let me just do this really quickly. Okay, can I get a thumbs up from someone in the chat? Okay, great. So this looks good. So here you can see I'm on the Alphabet Workers Union avatar site. I click this gray box here to choose a photo.
Can you zoom in, Rob?
Yeah, I can zoom in. Thank you. Actually, nope, that's zoom out. I can't zoom in any further. I'm sorry. But yeah, you click here on this gray box, and then you pick an image that you want to add the ring to. You click this caste equity button here on the right, and boom, you have this dope caste equity profile ring that you can add, and then you click save and it'll just download it to your device, and then you can add it on Corp. So we're gonna ask that everyone takes a minute to do that. And this is really gonna help drive awareness and promote conversations on Corp around this issue. And we'll give that a minute and then we'll move on to the next step. And for those of you who are on personal computers, that's totally fine. You can just download you can add the image and then email it to yourself or something. That's what I've done. So another thing that we're gonna do tonight is take 3 or 4 minutes just to text our friends, ping our friends on Corp about the caste petition. Last I checked, we're about 25 signatures away from hitting 1,400. So no excuses, like let's cross that number tonight. Right here on the slide, we have a quick template that you can use, just asking your coworkers to sign the caste petition, letting them know that they have coworkers who are actively being discriminated against in the workplace because of their caste, and asking them for explicit protection in the code of conduct. Because this would really help make clear that there's no place for caste discrimination at Google, and it would be a lot safer for folks to report discrimination claims if this were actually in the code of conduct. So let's take 3 minutes right now. I see 8:43 p.m. on my clock, so 8:46. We will move on, but yeah, let's just take a few minutes now to text our friends and let them know about this petition and get some more signatures on this thing. Okay, awesome. And next slide, please. All right, so one more thing that we're gonna do tomorrow is a meme gen takeover, everyone's favorite thing. So starting around 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, we are gonna do a takeover of meme gen. And we would love to have you guys get involved with us and really help us drive some engagement on these memes and get attention focused onto it. So there are a couple steps here that we're gonna ask you to take. The first thing is join our chat on Corp tomorrow. Go/AWU chat will bring you to a chat room where we're going to be showing all of our memes, like posting them and uploading them and stuff, starting at 2 p.m. When you make your memes, use the tag cast-petition. That will make it easier to search for these memes and like kind of go through and upload them all like really quickly. And then we're also going to ask you to, upload these memes and make memes with us. Meming is a lot of fun, as I think a lot of you already know. And yeah, this is going to really drive home another round of awareness tomorrow, especially given that today, our deadline for Sundar, Melanie, Kent, and Fiona to respond to our petition has come and gone. And I think typically folks and executives at Google think that, just being silent will kind of let the moment pass, but that is explicitly not what we're going to let happen this time. So can I just get some emoji reacts, thumbs up or hearts or party poppers or whatever, for those of you who've already joined that chat room or can do so right now. And then if we go to the next slide, you can see some examples of some dank memes that you might make tomorrow. Just some light inspiration for y'all. And I particularly in all of these have really driven home the fact that, like I just said, we haven't gotten a response from executive leadership yet, but we're watching that, right? We're not going to let them kind of go without a response, because what we're asking for is a really simple demand here, and something that should be an obvious thing for us to do to really protect our coworkers in the workplace. And then next slide, please. The very last thing is if you are not already a member of the Alphabet Workers Union, I would highly encourage you to join us tonight. AWU is the reason why we're able to put on events like this and really put up a sustained organizing effort at Alphabet against injustices in the workplace. So whether it's caste discrimination or unsafe RTO policies or reproductive freedoms or any other issue that's impacting workers, like we are here to fight with and for you to improve things. By joining, you'd be helping us build a stronger organizing base and more capacity to do this work. And we have tons of trainings that you can do to become a better organizer. Most of us on this call, I would say all of us on the call, did not know how to do this very long ago. But now we're able to put on events like this, and it's awesome. So yeah, we're fighting for a better workplace for everyone, and we would really love you to join with us. And I'm gonna you can join at join.aw.fyi. And now I'm going to hand it off for some of the closing remarks tonight.
Cool. Thanks, Rob. Hey, everyone. I'm Ojas. I want to continue the positive vibes and today's Union Day on a very hopeful and energetic note. This campaign to add caste as a protected category at Google, it is something that we can definitely achieve with our collective efforts. I wish it were as simple as sending Sundar an email, because as Rob said, we did try that. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. We have seen over and over that collective action has brought about many important changes in this company, with ending forced arbitration, the campaign to stop protecting harassers, getting NLRB recognized bargaining units for Google Fiber, holding Google and Modus accountable for mistreating our data center workers. All these seemingly difficult things were achieved only because of the collective organizing of our coworkers. And not only that, but as our presenter shared, adding caste as a protected category at a US institution also has precedent. We can build onto the momentum generated by our fellow anti-caste organizers around the country who have successfully moved institutions like Harvard, UC Davis, Brandeis, Colby College, Cal State universities to include caste as a protected category. And so I would like to encourage all of you to get personally involved. For anyone interested in organizing for this issue, we'll drop a link to a sign-up form to get involved with this effort in chat. So fill that out and someone will reach out to you about next steps. And as Rob said, for non-union people, join the union. for long-term efforts. Cool, yeah. And also, as Shubha mentioned earlier during the talk, that if you have any questions that were left unanswered during our presentations, we'll share. We already shared the link to a form for any more questions you have, but we can share that again. And yeah, before we end, I just want to reiterate the asks that Rob mentioned earlier. So tomorrow, change your, I mean, I hope all of you already did, but if you haven't, changed your profile picture on Corp to have the caste equity profile ring. Share the petition with even more coworkers and friends than you did today. Share it with your manager, share it with your manager's manager, or pretty much as far up as you feel comfortable going. And join go/AWU-chat for the latest news and memes. And create memes yourself, tag them with the caste petition context link, and upvote all related memes. Yeah, that's pretty much all we have for today. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It was wonderful seeing so many people. Yeah, and have a great, wonderful night.